Hello. In this example, we want to assume that y is a function of x. We want to rewrite each equation using function notation. Once we do that, we want to find f of negative 2 and f of a. A is actually pretty easy. It says y equals x squared plus 1. This is already solved for y, so what I want to do is I want to replace the y value with f of x. So that simply gives me f of x is equal to x squared plus 1. That's the first part of the problem. Then we want to find f of negative 2. That tells me that f of negative 2 is equal to parentheses negative 2 close parentheses squared plus 1. And then I'll simplify. Negative 2 squared is 4. So it leaves me with 4 plus 1. And 4 plus 1 is 5. So that gives me f of negative 2 is equal to 5. One more thing I need to do is I need to find f of a. F of a is equal to, if I go back to my f of x, I replace the x's with a. But remember, whenever I do that, I simply change the variable to that letter. So that gives me a squared plus 1. So there are my three answers for letter A. Next, let's look at letter B. Letter B is not solved for y, so that's actually what I want to do first. So to do that, I can do a couple of things. I can add 4y first, or I can subtract x. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to go ahead and, I don't know, let's just say I want to add 4y first. Most people probably wouldn't choose this, but just because I want to, here's what I'm doing. So here we have x equals 5 plus 4y. Next, I want to get this 5 to the other side because it doesn't have a y. So I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. When I do that, that gives me x minus 5 is equal to 4y. Now I can do one of two things here. I can multiply both sides by 1/4, or I can divide both sides by 4. It's the same thing, except I just wanted to go ahead and divide by 4 first. And whenever I do that, I divide that entire left-hand side by 4. Notice on the right-hand side the 4's cancel, and I'm left with y on the right-hand side. And on the left-hand side, I'm left with x minus 5 all over 4. Now I've solved for y, and what I want to do is I want to replace that with f of x. And simply because we like to see it come first, we say f of x is equal to, see, I replace the y with f of x, and then the other side here, which is x minus 5 all over 4. That's my first answer. Now I need to find f of negative 2. Well, that makes it much easier. I can find f of negative 2 by just plugging in x to be negative 2. So that gives me negative 2 minus 5 all over 4. Negative 2 minus 5 is negative 7. So negative 7 over 4, if I simplified that, well, I can try, but there's nothing in common between the 7 and 4, which means I'm done. So that means that f of negative 2 is equal to negative 7 over 4. Next, I want to find f of a. F of a is equal to, just replace the x with a, and that gives me a minus 5 all over 4. And that's it. There's your answer.